I'm going to show you how I do these problems. If you're having trouble, if you're not getting the correct answer, then try to do what I do. I create little pockets where I can substitute into. And I do that with parentheses. So that t is -4, k is 2, we have another -4 here. Show your steps. Don't just throw down an answer. The 14 is still 14. This turns into 16, correct? We've got -2 times 2 times -4. All of these are being connected with multiplication. What's a negative times a negative? So this whole chunk here is going to turn into 16. I still have to do the multiplication over here. Does that turn out to be 80? You could, at that point, you could just write down, what do we get, 110?
Yeah.
You could just write down your entire answer. How many people got 110? How many people know what they did wrong? That's why I show all these steps. If you're making a mistake, do something different. This is how I do it. I make my little parentheses pockets. I show my substitution. If you want partial credit on this quiz, if you put 100 down without any work, I can't give you any extra partial credit. But if you show me your substitution, and I notice maybe you put a 2 here instead of a -4, but you did the rest of the work correctly, that's fixable. You get some credit for that. But I can't do anything if I don't see anything. You're going to have plenty of space to show your work. You're going to have plenty of time to show your work. Why not try and get as many points as you can? Stop me if you need some help with something or want to know where something came from. We have the time today to do that. I do not answer questions when you're taking the quiz. I hate it when people raise their hand and say, how do I do this? Well, that's what I'm testing you on. You're going to find out what you know. That's really what a quiz is. It's a snapshot of what you know at that instant in time. So I won't be giving you any help on a quiz. But on the sideboard, there will be things on the sideboard that you have to memorize. Maybe I'll put in some sort of exponent rule on the sideboard. You can always glance at the sideboard during a quiz. It'll all be erased by the time we get to the test, which is usually every 3 weeks. Yes?
How is the 80 not published? On like the 4, how is the 4, and then the exponent or whatever, and everything is 16, and then...
All right, this is a positive 16. This is a multiplication here. Anytime you square anything, it's going to turn positive. Put your parentheses in your calculator. If you just put in this, that's not the same thing, and that'll get you a -16. You need the parentheses around it. Yeah, I'm competing with a lot of conversations right now. Got to be focused, got to be listening. If you have a question, raise your hand. Can I move on to number 2?
Yes, sir.
2. We have a 7. We have an x minus 1, -1 plus x. Remember my rule, do top
First.
entirely, then divide. So I'm going to put in some pockets. I always put in some pockets of parentheses for my substitution. I'm being given a 4 right here. I'm being given a 7 right here. And what's down here? Another 4. Now, the parentheses that I put in really don't have a use except to show you that you are substituting something into that spot. When I see this on a test, I know that you understand that the 7 and the -1 were given to you, and that this was not given to you. We have 7. What's inside here now? -3. And down here? +3. Do the top entirely. We get -21 on the top. Now divide by 3, -7. The more you write, the easier this year is going to get. If you try to do everything in your head, I can't do all this in my head. And I sort of know what I'm doing. I'm not real good with numbers. I'm okay. Any questions on this one? Number 3. When I see this, the first thing I do is that. What this prevents you from doing is changing this minus into a plus. You never do the absolute value until you've done everything inside here. You want to end up with one number, then you apply the absolute value. So what I'm doing in my head is really this. I'm ignoring that absolute value until the very end. I'm putting in 25 times, what do we got here? 1/5 in this spot, -42 1/2 there, 10 1/5, 6 1/2. So I'm doing all of that, and then after all that, I'll take care of that. When I see this, I don't think of 25 times 1/5. What I'm thinking in my head, what is 25 as a fraction? As a fraction. 25 over 1. I'm multiplying that times the 1/5. I'm putting 42 over 1 in my mind. That's what I'm thinking when I see that. I'm thinking fraction times fraction, not just number times fraction. I'm thinking of 10 over 1 times 1 over 5. I'm thinking 6 over 1 times 1/2. And of course, I've got absolute values around all of that. For some reason, people are cross-multiplying. When do you cross-multiply? Not here. When are you supposed to cross-multiply? What type of equation? What do we call something that looks like this? What do you call this entire equation? In a proportion, you would do some cross multiplication, all right? But what's in the middle here?
An equal sign.
An equal sign. Do you see an equal sign anywhere out there?
No.
No. Don't do this until we get to proportions. So when I see this, I'm going straight across. Put a couple arrows in there to remind yourself. We have to deal with fractions. There's no way around it. Sometimes we're able to change things into decimals, but eventually it's going to catch up with you either in AFDA or in Algebra 2, wherever you might end up. What's 25 times 1?
25.
What's 1 times 5? So this is really, we're really just squashing this together to make 25 over 5. We're squashing this together to make 42 over 2. Pushing it together, 10 over 5. Push it together, 6 over 2. Whoops, what should go right here? Sorry about that. Subtraction. That's going to be where people make their mistake. I just made it. What's 25 over 5? 5 minus, what's 42 divided by 2? 21. And then we have a 2 plus 3 over here. Notice, I have not switched anything yet. That minus is still a minus. Minus, 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 minus. Now that I'm down to one number, that's where I make my change. What is this?
16.
Out of all of this, we get 21.
Alright, let's not go on now.
Before we move on, does anybody have any questions about what we did?
That's my question.
No. We must. You know that you're probably going to see some sort of absolute value on your quiz. If you still don't understand something, when everybody's working on their textbook in a few minutes, come up to the desk. That's why the chair is there. Don't leave the room not knowing how to do something. This is your high school diploma we're trying to get. I've already got mine, right? Hopefully. Maybe. Next one, number 4.
Wait, forget it.
I'm making pockets again. Okay, number 1 rule, folks. Number 1 rule when I'm doing the lesson, got to be focused, paying attention. You will have plenty of time to chat when you're working on this and this. Got to separate lesson from chatting. Put in your substitution. We got a 9 here. We've got another 9 up here. And this is an A, so that is -5. I got a radical 36 over here. I got a 27 over, is that 3? Square root of 36. 6. Later on in the course, we're going to see that we've really got 2 square roots. This is the positive square root. What could be the other square root? -6. Did everybody get 15? Don't try and throw everything into your calculator at once. Use the calculator as a check. Last one, we're going to separate it into 2 problems because it's too squashed together to figure out exactly what's being asked here. This could be one of 2 things. So you're going to mark down y to the 3rd times radical x squared. Leave a little space. It could have been this. Maybe that y is all by itself. Maybe this is a cube root. Did you look at cube roots last year? Do you know how to get to cube roots on your calculator? Find the math key. The math key will get you to a lot of stuff. If you're stuck and you can't figure out where something is, chances are it's in that menu for math. And we'll see that when we get to that second question. X is 64. So y is 2. So I got 2 to the 3rd. And 64 in here, and square. What's 2 to the 3rd? 8. In my other class that's already taken this quiz, people are writing down 6. Is 2 to the 3rd equal to 6?
So that's 2 times 3.
That's 2 times 3. We want 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. How about the square root of 64? That's 8. So I've got all this inside here. This is really 64 squared, which is what? 4,096. So, it's possible that was the question being asked. On the test, you'll know exactly what I want. But I can't tell from whoever made up this worksheet whether that 3 belongs there or if it belongs here. So we're going to do both. On the test, if you see this little 3 pulled over here, this is not a regular square root. It's a cube root. So that will change it to look like this. We'll have a little 3 here. You'll still have 64 in there. On your calculator, how would you do that? If you didn't know what the answer was and you needed to look it up, what key did I say? Math key. What's the line that we want in the math menu? 4. You'll see a radical with a 3 in it pop up. That's what we want. Then just type in 64, and what will you get? 4. You'll get 4. We still want to do all the work inside here. So this is still 8 to that power. So the answer could be 4096, depending on whether or not that 3 is here or here. It might be 64. On the test, it will be obvious. I will pull this apart and make sure that you understand where that 3 is, whether it's there or there. Can you do this? Yes, you just have to slow down, focus, concentrate. And for the quiz, you can ask me questions. Suppose you forget where that is. Come up to my desk. I'll tell you where it is. I will not tell you where it is for the test. Quizzes, we're trying to figure out things. Test, I'm trying to figure out what you know exactly on that day. So I can help you out a little bit with calculator and instructions. Can't help you with the problems, but I can help you with instructions and calculator functions. Yes. You are too. Be quiet. The absolute value?
Yeah.
Sure. If I give you the answers to something, it's become notes. That goes into your 3-ring binder. I will look for that when I collect notebooks. I don't collect notebooks until the day of the test, which is a ways away. Take out your textbook. You have 2 sections that you could be working on right now. You have page 7, 19 through 30. You have page 13. There's 7 questions down here. All of this goes into your notebook. I want you working together, checking your answers with each other. Find a partner. That's what you need to be working on right now. Yes. Always. I don't check until I touch your notebooks. That's on the table. Don't throw anything away. Make sure you get all of those notes. Did everybody notice that on the front board there's this red border on there? That's because I just recorded it. This microphone only picks up my voice. You'll hear, when you listen to the video online, you'll hear your voice is kind of muffled. But you'll hear my voice, hopefully, just right.